This is John for Johnny's Beat. Today I have the pleasure of being on the beat with the queen of Wisconsin wrestling, Val Malone. How are you, Val?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm talking to the queen of Wisconsin wrestling. I've got to be good, right?
Exactly. It's probably the highlight of like your week or month or hey, your year.
Or I was going to say year. I mean, clearly,
Highlight
you
of the
know.
year.
So let's just start real quick with a brief biography of how did you get started in wrestling?
Sure. I've been a fan of wrestling my entire life. My older brother is a wrestler in Milwaukee, Dysfunction. He started liking wrestling. He's about 2 years old-ish, somewhere in that ballpark. But my parents got him into it because they were big fans. So it was just kind of a family thing. And me and my brother kind of knew we always had that passion for it. Like our family loved it, but there was a few of us that really, really, really loved it. So when my brother started training, he kind of opened that door for myself and for my cousin, who Bobby V. He also wrestles up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So he kind of opened up that door for us. And then when I was like about 19, I was able to actually like start managing and training and like learning all of the basics and everything that I needed to know. And so that was about 16 years ago, roughly. So it's been a while.
Now, what was your big draw to wrestling? What made you really want to get into it?
Honestly, I think at that time when I was watching it, that was like the Macho Man and Elizabeth love story and all of that. So I think it was not just all the cool characters. Like you had the Brutus the Barber Beefcakes, the Jake the Snake, the Undertakers. You had all these awesome characters, but there was really good storytelling and good like emotional storytelling that really like tugged on your heartstrings and like made you super invested and made you really like want to break down in tears at certain points. I'm watching this as a young kid and seeing this alternate world thinking it's all real life. I thought Brutus the Barber Beefcake was like legit a barber. He wasn't wrestling. I thought all of these things and all of these characters like this, they left wrestling and that's who they still were. Macho Man and Elizabeth were still exactly who they were on TV and all of that. So that whole world just kind of captivated me.
So did you want to be a manager or a wrestler or both when you started?
I never really wanted to be a wrestler. Honestly, when I was little, I loved wrestling, but it was always Miss Elizabeth that always caught my eye and Sherry Martel that caught my eye. It was always them, those women. Maybe it's because you just didn't see them that often. And me being a young girl, loving wrestling, there wasn't, you had like your Wendy Richters and stuff, but you didn't really have a whole lot of women to like look up to like you do nowadays. Now little girls have their pick of who they want to get behind and who they want to emulate and all of that. But back then I didn't really have that back in 1989. So it was kind of slim pickings, but I just really liked, especially like how Elizabeth, like she didn't have to really do much, but her face told the story, like Sherry did a lot, and everything, but like, it was nice how there was that contrast between those two where you could see both sides of it. And I always just kind of wanted to like morph them two together and then like become that.
So did you face any big hurdles in becoming, jumping onto the scene, becoming a manager?
Oh yeah. I was coming to shows before because like I said, my brother started training and when he was training, I was only like 12 years old. So I was coming to Mid-American Wrestling in Milwaukee all the time and meeting a bunch of people. And I was coming before and afterwards to help with like the raffle ticket or setting up chairs or just anything to kind of get me like included a little bit because I really, once we discovered independent wrestling, it was like, wow, what is this? Like super like infatuated with everything that was independent wrestling once me and my brother discovered it. So that was a hurdle in itself of being his little sister because everybody had watched me grow up, become a teenager, become an adult. Now here she wants to be in wrestling and she's going to be a manager, which probably going to be dressed slightly provocatively because it's the nature of the beast, but yet these guys look at me as like the little sister, which is nice. But then on the other hand, it's almost like you have to prove yourself more because I never wanted to be that person that was handed something. I always wanted to earn it and I didn't want to be given, all these opportunities simply just because I was Kurt's sister. Like if anything, my brother even like made me earn my opportunity at ICW. When I first started managing, I had to prove to him that I knew what I was doing before he just let me on a show or booked me on a show or whatever. So that was a hurdle in itself, just being known as little Dysfunction, Kurt's little sister. That was definitely a hurdle to jump over. And then to prove that I was there for the right reasons. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people who become managers or valets that just aren't in it for the right reason, whether modeling didn't work out or they look at it as a stepping stone to get to Playboy or what have you. You know, a lot of people maybe aren't trying to do it because they genuinely love wrestling. It's just a stepping stone or because they like attention a lot. You know, I felt like I really had to prove that I was there for like the right reasons and because I genuinely loved pro wrestling.
And what makes you a good manager? Well, excuse me, what makes you a great manager?
Well, not just my long career, but all of the champions that I have associated myself with. I couldn't even tell you the promotions, the wrestlers, the titles. I couldn't even give you the resume because it's just so much over the last 15 years. You know, I've had my home promotions, whether it was ICW Milwaukee, AAW in Chicago was a home promotion, and even just looking at those two, I was with the heavyweight champion at AAW, the heritage champion, the tag team champions, and vice versa for ICW. You know, I don't just talk the talk. I'm not just a bitch and wear like the little booty shorts. Like clearly, my guys and gals, I've managed a few women, have always had positive results in the end. And currently right now, I am the fourth wall wrestling women's champion. So you can add that one onto my list of accolades as well.
Well, I wanted to ask you about that. Now, you won that title from your client. You were managing Raven, and then you accepted a challenge, an open challenge, and you beat her.
Right.
So
right.
How does that work?
Well, I guess two things. One, when an opportunity presents itself, never turn it down. You always take full advantage. And two, a queen never shares her throne. There was only room for one of us. I saw my opportunity and I took it. Why wouldn't you? Isn't that the goal, to attain that gold? And it was literally right in front of me. I mean, who am I to not take advantage of that moment, you know?
But now, do other clients of yours have to worry about coming to the same fate at some point?
I guess that's the risk that you take. I mean, you measure out risk and reward, and you know, they're going to have to just determine that being on my good side and being aligned with me is worth the risk that I may take a title from you, or I may drop you if you lose your title. I mean, managers of champions stay with champions. You know, if you start slacking, I'm going to have to cut you loose.
Well, it's fair. You're putting it out there. There's no secrets. Well, I have to ask you now, I know you have a son. I don't want to get too personal. I know you have a son. Mm-hmm. What does he think about mommy wrestling, or what do his friends think of his mom wrestling?
Yeah, my son Jack, he's 13. So he's actually about 13 and a half. He's used to it. This has been his entire life. So it's not like it's anything different or it's anything weird or crazy. This is Jack's life. You know, even when I was pregnant with him, he was the center of a storyline at AAW. You know, my pregnant belly was exposed. I did every show while I was pregnant with him. You know, I didn't miss a show. My last one, I believe, was like November 2009, right before I had him. It was December. So I really didn't miss anything. You know, he was there with me the entire time. He's gotten to do kind of some cool stuff. His dad, when he was working for Ring of Honor, he got to cut some cool promos with him. So like this just became normal life to Jack. You know, like all of his friends know, and they've done the Google searches. But I guess the good thing is, well, I don't know if this is a good thing or bad thing, but when they do Google searches, there is a porn star by the name of Val Malone.
Oh,
she looked nothing like me. I've had to look it up just to see, to make no confusion whatsoever. We look completely opposite, so there's none of that. But I think that deters them from continuing to look further. 13-year-old boys stumble across maybe someone who's a porn actress. I think that's going to captivate their attention a little bit more than Jack's mom. So
there could be a detour, I guess.
Exactly. That's how I look at it. It's kind of weird, but they're teenagers now. We've
all been there, right? So do you think he will follow in wrestling? And if he does, would you ever manage him?
Ooh, I would definitely manage him. I would want to, just for, if Jack decided he wanted to be in wrestling, I feel like I would have to manage him just for nostalgic purposes. Everybody in my family that's in wrestling or has been in wrestling, I worked with them in some way at least one time. So I feel like it's a requirement that you have to work with your family members. So I would definitely want to manage him. But Jack doesn't maybe it's because it's been 13 years of his life as pro wrestling. He's got a great brain for it. Like a lot of times I can run things past him and like he'll give his input and it's usually always right or really creative or really witty or really spot on. So he's got the brain for it. I mean, he's an athletic kid. He's in football and stuff, but I don't think he's going to want to do it. I think he's going to want to take that opposite route. Like he's kind of a nerd. He loves school. He cried on his last day of school this year and he's going into 8th grade and he was bummed it was the last day of school. So he loves school. So I'm kind of hoping that if he wants to be in wrestling, that's fine. But I'm kind of hoping that he takes, whatever path that he wants to take and doesn't take a path that he feels like he has to just because his family was all involved in it.
Sure.
If he wants to do it, great. But if not, that's fine too.
Now, if you could manage any person, any wrestler, past, present, who would it be for one match?
For one match. I think I would want to manage Eddie Guerrero. He would be my pick because even just watching like any of his matches, you can tell how creative that man was and like out of the box thinking that he always had and stuff and was very like inventive about things and innovative and did things for reasons and stuff. And I feel like him like having like a manager like right there with him, like who knows like what cool brainchild like what he would come up with for that match. So I think Eddie Guerrero would have to be my pick.
And if you could challenge or accept the challenge from any wrestler, I guess male or female, for your title, who would that be?
I don't know. That's a tough question because I don't want to face anybody for my title.
That's a great answer.
I don't want to put that risk of losing it out there by any means. So yeah, I'm going to just say that I'm going to protest and just not defend it at all until I absolutely have to.
It's a fair answer. So are you going to have to change your moniker from Queen of Wisconsin Wrestling to Queen of Wisconsin Illinois Wrestling, or Queen? I know you're their dominant manager in the Midwest, so are you going to have to adjust to that?
It may have to be adjusted accordingly. I really felt I deserved the Wisconsin moniker this year because they have a Wisconsin Independent Wrestling Hall of Fame, and you had to be inducted in that. So I felt that was a good opportunity since I was adding that accolade as well to the resume to now like really officially crown myself, because that's undeniable at that point when your peers in your state are recognizing what you've known forever, the greatness that is Val Malone. It always feels good. So it'd be nice to maybe branch that out and keep going. The Queen of the Midwest would be applicable. I mean, I think I'm like the queen of the entire country, but I guess I have to be somewhat realistic a little bit. So I guess stay tuned.
That's a good cliffhanger. So I know you're still young. How long do you plan on doing this?
Well, I super appreciate you saying that I'm still young. So I just want to put that out there because I'm definitely not.
Hey, I got to stay on the good side of the queen.
No, I super appreciate it. I was actually thinking about this the other day, and I thought that at the age I'm at now, I wasn't going to be doing it anymore. Like I always thought, like, okay, once Jack's a teenager, he's not going to want to see his mom like in booty shorts, or it's going to be a big deal. But like, it's just not, and like, so I don't know. I guess I'm going to just keep going until I decide I want to stop. And I don't really see that coming anytime soon. But yeah, I think it's going to be, I've done a lot of things outside of the norm, like the whole being pregnant and still doing shows, because a lot of people take that time away. I didn't. I always do things that are kind of the opposite. So who knows, you may see like a 60-year-old Val Malone still in sequin shorts trying to manage and get her game on and have her stable of champions. So.
And did winning the fourth wall title, did that inspire your or increase your thirst to actually wrestle more, or is that possibly just a one-off title?
Well, it definitely increased the thirst for more gold. So no matter which way, shape, or form that comes to me, whether it's a title like this, women's title, whether I can get that opportunity and see that opportune moment to cash in any other place or any other time where I see fit, or if it's just acquiring more talent that has gold. I mean, that's really what I'm kind of thirsting for. I know people want to say like gold digger. I consider myself a gold seeker. Not that bad. Who wouldn't want gold? Who doesn't want gold? So I figure like wherever that goes, I will follow.
Well, Val, before I let you go, and I very much appreciate your time.
Yeah.
Now's the time for you to promote whatever you want. Tell people where to find you, either online or in person, whatever you want.
Yeah, you'll never find an OnlyFans of me, so I'm just going to put that out there right now. But you can find me on Twitter, Valerie Malone 19. I'm also on Facebook, just Val Malone. Too old to be doing the whole Instagram game, so you definitely will not find me on there. But yeah, I mean, you really don't know where I'm going to pop up. I have my home bases, Illinois and Wisconsin, but I do like to kind of randomly pop up places that you kind of don't either not expect, but just unannounced, just make my presence felt. So I guess you'll just have to keep your eyes open and see what happens and where I turn up.
Well, Val, it's been a pleasure. I've met you a couple times. I've never had the pleasure of interviewing you until now, and I really appreciate it. I look forward to seeing you in action. Hopefully, I'll even be at one of your, a title defense in the near future.
Yeah, Fourth Wall Wrestling, that will be the next one where I believe I will be defending my title. I'm not defending my title. But it is on the first Saturday in August. I'm trying to look at the date, Friday, August 5th, actually. So if you want to come up to good old Milwaukee, there is a great Mexican restaurant that is attached to where Fourth Wall runs. So you can get a margarita, get some solid Mexican food, and then you get to see the queen of Wisconsin wrestling.
I'm sensing there might be some shenanigans in that title defense, but hey, as long as you walk away with the gold, it's all that matters.
Hey, whatever it takes, right? Whatever it takes.
Val, it's been a real pleasure. I really appreciate your time, and good luck in the future. And we'll catch up again when in the future, maybe when you add another title.
There you go. I love it. Sounds great.
Thanks, Val. Have a great night.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.